What's shaking? Hey, I'm Rick Jordan. Today, we're going all in. What's shaking? Welcome back to All In. My guest today is just an amazing human being, somebody I've known for a few years, and also the largest licensee for Major League Baseball. It's incredible. Kris Dehnert, welcome, brother.
What's happening, man? Thanks for having me out.
Dude, it's good to have you on. Yeah. We were talking a little bit last week when we saw each other in person, and you're doing some amazing things, man. I mean, just incredible.
We're having a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun, that's for sure. And amazing things tend to happen when you're having fun, right?
I think that's the case usually. Yeah, exactly. Amazing and some troublesome things sometimes when you're having fun, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun. Anyways, dude, so I started this off, like giving you props about the largest, because I found this out last week when we were talking, the largest MLB licensee, right?
Fastest growing.
Well,
there's some big boys out there, but I mean, they've been in the game for a minute. Our company's only been hanging out for license maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're just doubling year over year, Inc. 5000, all this kind of stuff, we are certainly one of the maybe one or two fastest growing licensees in decade or two, honestly.
I gotcha. I think we got some, I'm going to hold on one sec. We'll edit this part out. Hey guys, you got the music on loop. There we go. It's a good thing this isn't live, right?
That's why you record it.
I know, right? Yeah. No, I got a top-notch team that's here, man. It's just awesome. They rock it, the whole world. So you're the fastest growing licensee in Major League Baseball. That's pretty badass. Did you ever think you'd be there, dude? I mean, because I met you a couple years ago, and it seemed like you were just like getting started a few years back, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always think I'm going to get there, right? That's just part of what it is. Like without that kind of vision and the kind of grit, and I know I'm gritty, and I know I'm hardworking, and I know I don't make excuses. So I always anticipate getting there. Was that a specific goal? No, I didn't even know that was a thing. But I knew I was going to be the best in the world at what we were doing. And we did that in short order, and we haven't slowed down. And usually the things that come along with that are, those type of accolades.
Yeah, right on, man. I appreciate your heart too, because last week, I saw photos of your daughters, your wife, and you said, this is what I live for. This is why I do what I do. How old are your girls now?
I have a 2 and a 7.
Nice.
Yeah. My wife and I, we've been together 17 years and married for nearly 10. We're coming up on 10 pretty soon.
That's cool, brother. I dig that. How did she feel when you started this whole thing?
Well, so you got, like I said, and the reason I bring up how long we've been together is because it puts things into perspective, right?
Yeah.
So she's known me. So I used to open Gold's gyms for a living, and then I was real estate, and I was this, Dugout's my 8th company. A lot of people don't know that because they're just focused on what you're doing now, right? But she's kind of been through this roller coaster with me. Make $1 million, lose 2, make 2, lose 1. It's just this chaos, and she's not from her family's not like that. Most families aren't like that.
Yeah.
And, so it's a little stressful at times for her, but I think every day and every minute that she's around me, she's like, well, this crazy son of a bitch, he's going to do it. Like, I don't know how or whatever, but I know he's going to get it done. So when I started this, she has always been a supporter. Now, Randall, my partner, this is his baby. This is the first time he's ever had a venture, right?
Oh, wow.
So it was more about getting him to believe in like what we were doing, right? So when he could see Alexis and he saw some of the other people around me, they're like, I don't know how he's going to do it, but he's going to do it. And it was really kind of took some of the guards down, but she's been through the ringer, bro. So by now she's like believed in me pretty hard.
That's pretty cool. And you've got that backstory too, because I share the same. You fall on your face so much that you know that you can absolutely get back up again, regardless of whatever's going to hit you. And that's really the confidence builder that happens, no matter how hard you fall. Because I think that at some point in my life, hopefully not, but in a different area, that I'll fall harder than I ever have, but maybe in a different topic or something like that, because it's something new that I'm venturing into.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's either experience or being naive. Those are the two things that have a lot of confidence.
I like the second one a lot, man.
Sure.
I lean on it.
Too dumb to be scared. I'm too dumb to be scared, right? And I don't even know. I have nothing anyway. What am I going to lose, right? So so just being naive can build confidence, and then once you realize what you're capable of, the experience, the expansion of a balloon, right? It never goes back to where it started, and that's kind of what we are. And at this point, we're just stretched out rubber. Like, we can bend and move in ways that many can't even fathom. And when you have that kind of flexibility and versatility, you can go a long way.
Failure is like entrepreneurial yoga. How about that?
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt, dude. Yeah. And you learn more, right? Like, you learn more when you fail than you ever do when you succeed. So, and I tell people that because I do consulting and stuff, and they're like, oh, I've never had a loss before. I was like, well, you're full of shit, or you haven't tried hard enough.
Oh, right. That's really on.
What it comes down to. Because losing and failing, like, that's really when you learn a lot about yourself, and your capabilities.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about your failures a little bit, shall we? Because you've got
Sure.
this in your bio. I love this. It says you literally were fired from every except one job you ever had because you insisted on doing it your way. First, what's the one that you weren't fired from?
Gold's Gym. I had a guy, Dave Guernsey. I always give him props. He was one of my first mentors, whether he tried to be or not. And he opened gym. He had an aerospace engineering degree from UF. So he had a whole different path for himself. And he got there and he's like, what? I'm not doing that. I'm going to open gyms. And he's been very successful with it. And I was this kid that came in that had wild ideas. I was 21 and I had like 40, 50 employees at 21, 22 years old, all of them older than me, some significantly older than me. But I had these new ideas, and there was this new website that came out called Facebook, and here's how we're going to leverage it. And, I was always just dreaming and doing. And man, I hit levels that had never been seen before, 150, 160 memberships a day.
Wow.
On some of these promotions we were doing. I was bringing dump trucks into the gym and dumping dirt and sand and building beaches. And we do like luau's and just real crazy shit, And what it did is it created, and with all that he brought to the table, we created this atmosphere that was award-winning, nationally award-winning clubs. And so he's like, again, I don't know how this kid's going to do it, but he's going to come up with something and it's going to work. Right. And so that's the one I didn't, and I was texting with him yesterday. I was at the gym today. So yeah, he believed in me. Right. Still does. Huge fan of mine, which is awesome.
That's awesome, brother. That's important, isn't it? Because even with the ventures that I'm going through, does it ever surprise you when you look around at the people that surround you, like, wow, they actually believe in me?
Yeah, what's important to pay attention who's cheering for you, right? It says a lot about you, and it says a lot about the people you attract to. And you'll find a lot of, on the other side, you'll find a lot of people that are, on the negative side.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God, we know they're there.
They're the loudest, man.
They are the loudest, but they're the least relevant. And what's needed, like what you said, is like the people that are cheering for you, they're there, and it's motivating, because there's down days, there's shitty days where you just feel like this is too much, I can't handle. And that's when you got to lean into your support systems. And a lot of times those people, especially the ones that are being verbal. So if you see people, whoever's listening, if you see people doing good, like, cheer for them. Yeah. Right. There's it's so much abundance out there. Like, cheer for these people. They need it. They might be there for you when you need it.
Right on. What was one of those low times, brother, that you had where you had to lean on those people?
When I had a few back-to-back losses, all six figures, and it felt like all what I just like really grinded to get, and I felt like I couldn't miss. Right, I think that was even my password in all my shit. Right, like, kid can't miss. Right, whatever. But then I did, and I did again. I stopped, and I was like, all that money I just saved up is just burned. I just thrown in the fireplace, but it kept warming. But it was leaning into those people. And, I made a few phone calls and I said, hey, look, she went sideways. I need like 10 grand, 10 grand. Somebody just threw 10 grand at me just so I can handle some stuff. Yeah. Or when I got super sick, which is a story I don't go into very often. I was shutting down businesses. I was shutting down relationships. I was shutting off people because I wasn't going to die letting them think I still like them, or I was, you know what I mean? Like, you were going through some really tough stuff in your head. And at that time, I leaned into family. I leaned into friends. I leaned into ventures and past partners. And it's when you do right by people consistently, they're always going to have that safety net around you. So there's plenty of times that I've leaned into that group.
Yeah. You said you were sick for a while too?
Yeah, I ruptured my appendix. I was on my way. So which is not uncommon.
Yeah.
But the way I went about it was very uncommon. So I had a restaurant in Tampa for a little while with some buddies, and I had a business meeting. You always do it at your restaurant. It's this ridiculously awesome steak and sushi house. You always go to your place. Well, I had knee surgery on both knees, the week before. And I said, well, I got to get to this meeting. So I borrowed my buddy's Ferrari because it had paddle shifters and I didn't have to use my legs. So I'm driving to an hour away. I probably had an Oxycontin that morning because my knees were like killing me. And I'm driving somebody else's Ferrari. And already this is a fucking mess, right? So by the time I'm about halfway there, so my stomach starts hurting. And I'm like, oh, it's probably the pain meds, right? Let me pull off at a Starbucks and just slam a coffee. Well, I went to the meeting. This happened on the way back. My stomach started hurting at the meeting and I went ahead and left. And I just decided, you know what? Let me just slam a coffee. It'll get you going, right? So I slammed this coffee and buddy, I hit the floor. I spent about a half hour on the floor of a Starbucks bathroom, which you can imagine what that's fucking gross.
Oh God, yeah.
And I couldn't get up. I had to crawl out of there. People like banging on the door, like, dude, are you okay? Thought I died in there. And I finally crawled outside and like limped outside and sat down in the sun, hoping to make me feel a little better. I didn't know what was going on. Anyway, I decided instead of going to the hospital, which was 2 blocks away, because I used to live in that town. And I just went home because I had the Stanley Cup the next night. I had tickets to the Stanley Cup. I had another meeting the next day. And turns out a week later, when I'm laying in bed and all my organs and bodily functions, and they're just not working, my skin's turning like a yellow.
Yeah.
Well, it was a week after by the time I went into the hospital. And when you get there, I was like, I think I'm just constipated. Like something's up with these medicines I'm on for this knee surgery. They like, oh, let's take a quick scan. Then the doctor came back in and there was like 3 other people with him. And I was like, well, that's an odd thing to see now.
Yeah.
And they said, well, actually, you're not constipated. What happened is you should have been dead a few days ago, but instead your body built this wall, this abscess it built in your core, and it's the size of a football. And so a poison ball the size of a football, it's like a bomb in your body. And they said, you really don't have time. We have to just flip you over and take this out. No pain meds, no nothing, because we need to go through your back 4 different layers. And we need you to tell us when we get there so we can do this the right way. So I'm like, oh,
they need you to tell them.
Yeah. So they couldn't give me enough pain meds to numb it up because they said they were going to go through, they're telling me as they're doing, there's first layer, second layer, third. And when we get to this thing, you'll feel a lot of pressure and a lot of pain, but we don't want to puncture it because it'll rupture and you'll die basically.
Wow.
Because all that poison, you'll just soak it up. So I didn't really have time to think through it. And my wife showed up and they went through my back. They pulled this thing out. I went into shock, like all this stuff, chipped my teeth. It was crazy. Yeah. And I ended up in the room up there. And this is after the guy told me, he's like, you got about a 1 in 3 shot of not making it out of here. And you don't really want to hear that, right? When you're in your early to mid 30s and you're just kicking ass and you got a 6-month-old baby at home.
Yeah, brother.
So that was really interesting. And it was a big perspective changer for me. And I'm laying there in the bed, 105 temp, my mom, leaning into your support systems. Yeah. Your mom's waving a fan on you till her arm cramped up at 60. You know what I mean? Just to keep my temperature from 105 to 104. And my wife couldn't come see me because we had a 6-month-old. My 6-month-old, I may never see her again.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the one that hit me the most because it's like, you're so busy chasing money, you're not chasing happy, and there's fucking happy everywhere. So that was a real big shift for me. And it allowed me to really dive in deep and be very specific on the types of deals I do and the people I deal with. And when I got more focused and I build like lifestyle by design, it's a phrase some people have heard, but doing it is another story. So I built a lifestyle by design, and it all revolves around, I want all my time. I want experiences. I collect memories, not things, like that kind of stuff. Each one of these are things, but it represents a memory and something badass that I got to do with Pete Rose or Mariano Rivera or whatever. So I just kind of changed my thoughts. And again, all these deals I was in, they didn't fit that mold anymore. So I'm like, dude, you can go to hell. You can go to hell. I'm done here. We're done here. And when you do that, the financials just crumble, right? And that's what, again, one of the times when I leaned into old partners and this and that. I'm like, hey, man, that deal we're in, can you just buy me out of it? And like, yeah. So made enough to get through, said a few prayers. I'm like, put somebody in my path that needs my skill set and that meets all my new criteria.
Yeah.
And very short, very concise, very clear, very powerful. And it did that. And then this kid calls me out of the blue one day. He's like, hey, I got an idea. And I'm like, well, dude, I can take it to the top if you want. Buckle up. And here we are, $30-50 million company at this point. Depends on who you're asking, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for sharing so much, man, and being vulnerable with that too, because it's a perspective changer. I went through a lot of health stuff years back too, and that's what really kind of shifted things for me, because I was focused on, it wasn't necessarily money, but it was like you ask yourself the questions like, what am I even doing here? Mm-hmm. As I look back at things, it's like I've got amazing kids, I've got an incredible family, and why am I even on this earth? That's something that I need to figure out real quick, because same type of scenario, it was 20 minutes away from being dead. Yours was an appendix, mine was a gallbladder. And it was just, sometime over drinks, I've told the story on this show a lot, but just to relate to you, man, it was a perspective changer, because it's like, what can I do to accelerate things, and how can I care less about me and more about everybody else around me?
Yeah. Yeah. Were your kids young when that happened?
Yeah. My twins were 7 and my youngest was 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a 6-month-old that I've never really met, because I was in the cannabis business. So I was flying back and forth from Colorado, Denver for, a bunch. And so I was seeing my 6-month-old grow up on Zoom like a fucking clown. And then this hits. And the only thing I can think of is like, I'll never see her walk, talk. And then like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And it really brought things home. It really did, in a good way. And it's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Right on.
Honestly. And now I'm completely unapologetically authentic and don't give a shit about most things. And I'm just me. Right. And people love it, hate it. I don't care either way. Right. And my family gets me all the time. Every night, every morning I'm taking her to school. Every night I'm cooking. Every night I'm putting them to bed, singing them songs, this kind of stuff, which with time constantly fleeting, people, you probably heard me say it the other day, it's the biggest illusions out there. It's time and control. You don't have these things.
Yeah.
They're not yours.
Yeah. Right on.
You get to borrow them. And now I get to spend as much of that time that I'm gifted back, which you can appreciate. Doing the things that I think are more impactful. And it was an interesting shift, and you'll appreciate this too, I think. I mean, you're doing big things, right? I'd respect the hell out of that.
Thanks,
for me, it was like, I used to want to leave a legacy, right? And now, I want the world. One of my favorite movies is Troy.
Oh yeah, brother.
Remember? Okay, at the beginning, the little kid.
Yeah.
The kid goes up to Pitt and he's like, dude, that's the biggest man I've ever seen. I never want to fight him.
Yeah.
He's like, well, that's why no one will remember your name. Right. I was like, oh,
you got it.
I wanted the world to remember my name. But now I only care about the right people even remembering my name and carrying that legacy and being more impactful and having fewer, bigger, better, deeper relationships than trying to you leave this worldwide legacy of me. Who the hell cares? The people who care have always been there, and I want them to carry it, so that's my journey.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, is that everybody finding what theirs is,
That is. And hopefully they don't have to go through a scenario like you and I did in order to refocus that. Because that's
if they do, learn from it.
Yeah, right on.
Right. People go through that and they go right back to what they were used to because of fear.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for sure. Because it'll be like, okay, how can I insulate myself even more? at this point. And that's the wrong way to look at it. That's the same thing that's happened even, prior to all this stupid shit 2 years ago is the same thing. You saw a lot of people like, how do I insulate myself more? How do I insulate myself more from the bad instead of chasing after more of the good?
Yeah. Well, light gets rid of the dark.
You got that right.
The whole code, I feel so sad for the people who spent their last year or their last 2 years, because for many, many, many people, COVID or not, regardless on what they say, those were their last 2 years, and you spent it in a freaking hole away from people who you actually cared about.
Yeah.
How sad is that?
Yeah, right on.
Right? I feel you on that one, man. You got to expand. You don't contract. Like, you don't grow contracting.
Yeah. Dude, we've known each other for a few years, and I feel like I'm just starting to get to know you now, which is really cool. I'm glad we're doing this today, man. I know.
Me too, man. We got a big circle, and
we do.
I think what happens is when people are authentic and genuine, the right people will gravitate towards them. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's not. But as long as it happens, that's all that matters to me.
Tell me a little bit more about this unapologetic you. Because there was that shift in your life, and that's your theme now, right? That you just don't give two shits what anybody else thinks, except for the right people, of course. How has that benefited you so much,
what
dude?
What it is I want people to I do care if people like me and approve. Like, it's natural, right?
Yeah.
For a human to want to do that. But I want them to like the real me. And what I found is I was not constantly, because I've kind of always had that chip and that edge, right? But it's like there was a facade, you always, now looking back at the fake it till you make it and some of this kind of stuff, like, I appreciate that. And that has a place somewhere, but it's never as big and important as I used to make it. Yeah. And I feel like I would have gone a lot further, a lot faster if I was more transparent about who I am and, more importantly, who I'm not, because then you get to the right place faster. And when I kind of came to that realization, how many times you see me on stage? Everybody's in 3-piece suits, I'm in shorts and sandals.
Yeah, right on. Yep.
Mike gets all mad about it. I'm like, dude, but that's me. And I don't want someone to not recognize me somewhere because they're like, this bitch always had on a suit. I'm not a suit guy. Yeah, I don't even have pants on right now. Right? Like, we're relaxed. Yeah. Right? I want to live a relaxed life. And that's just who I am. And the people who want to live a relaxed life and appreciate what I appreciate and believe what I believe, they gravitate. You know what I mean? They gravitate towards us. And for me, I wrapped it up into that phrase, unapologetically authentic. I'm not sorry. I'm me. I care a lot and I help a ton, but I'm also going to inspire people to be exactly who they are, because they're quite literally the only one. And to not be that person authentically, what a waste. You're taking that badass away from somebody who was looking for that person, and inspiring people to be authentic. It goes a long way, and the world's coming around to that, which is nice. It's nice to see.
It is. Yeah. I knew it would come back around eventually. It was just a curiosity of how much time it would take. Yeah. And everybody's searching for the real now, at least from my perspective, because it's there's the real that people have been putting out there for a long time. But now it's like, how do you go deeper than that? It's not just what are you showing me on the surface, but what's actually driving you? Why are you the way that you are?
Well, so that's what conversations are for.
Yeah, right on.
Open conversations. And sometimes there's a lot of conversation going around I don't agree with a damn bit, as you could probably attest.
Yep.
And you know what? You're right to your opinion. Like, whatever. I'm not going to argue with you about it. Yeah. But we can have a conversation, authentic, nice, open conversation. Like, I just don't fucking like you. Yeah. Like, I don't like what you stand for. I don't like how you think. High five. Have a great life. And that's okay. But
I love it, man.
Okay. I think that's okay. Some people don't think that's okay.
I know. I think it's okay. Dude, we've gotten to know so much about you today, and I appreciate that. Now let's talk about what you do, because your products are sick. I fucking love them, dude.
Fun.
Yeah.
They're super fun. Dugout mugs. So Randall used to pitch for the Blue Jays organization. He wasn't quite good enough to go all the way. So he got cut in minor leagues. But he was a professional athlete, right? And those guys they're built to win in a lot of ways, and they just got that DNA, right? And anyway, this kid called me, hey, I got a cool idea. A couple years ago, I was coaching at Florida Tech, his alma mater. Someone was cutting baseball bats in half and the barrels were laying all over the dugout. And he picked them up, took them home, drilled them out. He thought to himself, he's like, I could drink out of that. It's a completely random, weird thought, but what a beautiful mind this young man has. And he brought that idea to fruition, one at a time, belly to belly, putting on A-frame signs on himself and just going out to ball games and tailgates and like trying and making this work, which I appreciate to like the 10th degree.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And he came and he's like, dude, I have an idea. And I said, well, I got a hell of a skill set. You want to put these two things together and give it a go? And it was 2017. And he had done like 70K in sales. That's a one-man show.
With an A-frame. Right?
Imagine that.
Wow.
A one-man band, just all this shit going on. Like that was this guy. And he did pretty good. And but then I got involved and we put it up to 1.2 million that first year. And we just basically take baseball bat barrels and we hollow them out, and then we engrave them with just about anything you want. Teams, players. We did this really sick collab with the Sandlot.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, these are sweet. And then the director signed them all. So, I mean, we've done, oh my God, Bud, Coors, Miller, Corona, DraftKings, Coke, Fox. I mean, you name it. We do corporate gifting on a super high level. All the governors, the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, he has them on his desk. We make all the VIP gifts for the governor's dinners. I think Trump's got a mug. There's a lot of people in a lot of places with our products. I mean, we're, anywhere between 15 and $20 million a year now in revenue, which is super cool. Just depending on like where we decide to go this year with retail. We just found out that I think next week we're going live in Fanatics, Kohl's, Macy's, Nordstrom's. I think Home Goods is coming down the pipe. Dick's Sporting Goods just put us in 100 locations and we got 300 more on the way. It's just wild.
That's awesome, man.
A lot of people drinking out of a lot of bat mugs, man.
That's so cool. So this is, he's still your partner, right?
Oh yeah. Randall, he and I are going to take this thing to the finish line. We're going to take it a long way. What we say is we're going to build it to sell it. And then we'll decide if we want to, because it's a lot of fun. Like every single mug you see behind me here, it's Pete Rose and Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Larkin and Mariano Rivera and Pudge Rodriguez. These are guys that I'm golfing with or going to events with, and we're making these custom pieces, and it's just nuts. So it's going to be really hard to walk away from something that is just pumping out money and a ton of fun with almost no involvement from me anymore, because we built a badass team around it. So that's going to be hard to walk away from, but I will.
That's interesting, man. Yeah, because but you will. I like that. It's going to be hard, but I will. There's always a point.
I know where true north is.
Yeah.
It's not the money, it's the happy. Right. And I can do a lot of happy with a lot of money. And I can show I don't have to teach my kids Spanish. Like my 7-year-old's learning Mandarin and my wife's half Mexican. So we speak Spanish around here a bit. So my daughter's going to know 3 languages by the time she's like 8.
That's right.
Awesome. So let's go. You want to learn about Spain? Let's go. Yeah. You want to see what Italians like? Italian food on a cliffside, let's just go. Right. And experience this world, because we don't have a lot of time and we don't have a lot of control of what happens to us. We can only control what we do after it happens. Right. So I want to take these opportunities and just capture the shit out of them. And I can do that with a lot of money. You can help more people with a lot of money.
You got it.
You can capture more experiences with a lot of money. Right. Money's not a bad thing.
Oh, hell no. It's one of the best things. I always say that it's a tool, man. Yeah. That's all it is. I love that too, because you can buy a whole lot of happy with a whole. Yeah.
A whole lot of happy, a whole lot of money. Now, listen, one of the other things too is money is one of the most common things. And so I think when people put it on a pedestal,
dude,
it gets fucked up, right? Like what it's about is, I mean, dollars, yen, Canadian dollars, euros, Bitcoin, Litecoin. There's 80 or 90 top cryptos. I mean, barter currency is common. right? So to make that like the goal, the destination, I think that's backwards. I think that's more of a result of doing happy consistently and doing something that you're good at and finding that one core competency, your power zone, and just doing the hell out of it. What's going to happen is you're going to have fun, you're going to be successful, you're going to inspire other people, and then you're going to turn around and have a $30 million mug company.
Yeah.
Right. We didn't do this to be super wealthy. Like that's part of the deal, which is great, but we did it because we wanted to build something. I had a lifestyle by design thing in my head that I wanted to bring to fruition. And we did it by hanging out with cool people, doing something fun. Our due diligence and our like R&D is just baseball games and breweries and stuff like that. That doesn't suck.
Yep.
So you know what I mean? Like money is super cool, but I think it's actually a result of doing consistently good things that are in your core competency, right?
It is, man. Yeah. The only time I've ever had money, well, times I should say, because we've all had multiples, right? The only times I've ever had, if you want to call them money issues, or it's been, things have been tight, is when I've actually been focused on the money itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I'm focusing.
You make bad decisions that way sometimes.
You do.
Too close to it because you're like, well, this will make more money. Yeah. It's like, but that's the result. Like the reason there's money problems is because of shit you did a year ago.
Yeah. You can't go back in time and fix that. The only thing you do now is something brand new that's not focused on the money, and the money always comes.
It really will, because it's everywhere.
It really is. Yeah.
We just printed up 3 trillion more. They didn't even attach to anything.
Yeah.
But we don't have enough.
I know, right?
Let's just make more. Just give it
we got trees. That means we got money, right?
Yeah. Start writing on toilet paper if you can find that on the shelves.
Yeah. No kidding. Oh Lord, dude, I've appreciated our conversation today, man. Thank you so much for coming on. And
thanks for the invite.
Dude, I can't wait to see this thing blow up even more, and I'm even thinking like some all-in mugs right now. That's what's going through my head.
Totally.
Yep.
Totally. We just did a few other, Adam, we did some for Taylor. We did some for Epic Cigars. I'm mocking one up for Jason Newman right now. Yeah, dude, corporate gifting, that's our jam. Nice. We have a lot of fun with that. I mean, we make some really badass stuff. So just shoot me over your logo. I'll send you one all customized with your name and everything on it.
Sweet, brother. That's awesome. Where can everyone find you or Dugout Mugs?
Dugout Mugs, the actual mugs, you can find them in all 50 states, all 30 stadiums, and actually 7 countries now, which is kind of sweet.
Yeah.
But dugoutmugs.com, any social media, you'll find us. We're the only one. We're the biggest. We're the best. And as far as I'm concerned, because what's cool is Dugout Mugs is what I do. It's not who I am, which is kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of things that I'm tied into from an interest standpoint, or, philanthropy and all this other. So you can find me at LinkedIn. Just look up my name.
Sweet, brother.
I'm the only one.
You're the only one. Dude, you're amazing. Thanks.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate y'all. Everybody have an amazing, amazing day and week.